everyone, how you doing today? It's Marla. Hopefully everyone is doing well. This is going to be a different video. It's going to be a story time video, and I don't think I've ever done a story time video on my channel. I know I've not done any tag videos. I'm kind of not really a tag kind of person. I'm very interested in story time videos. They really get my attention sometimes, and I love hearing people tell their stories about things, whether they be good or bad. This is a story time video about how a piece of garlic saved my dog's life. And the dog in question is that big fluffy white dog right there, Sam. Sam is my 4-year-old golden doodle. He is very, very special to me. Not that my Labradoodle isn't, but Sam is a very emotional dog. He's always been very emotional, has really a lot of human emotions, also very bright and smart and conniving, and we call him Dennis the Menace. Very much full of real childlike emotions, and we are extremely attached to him. He is just like one of my kids. So the story time goes, one night in January, and my son was down in the kitchen with Sam. My son was eating a pizza that I bought from Whole Foods, and this video is just to kind of show you how domino effect works, how one thing leads to another, that leads to another, that you would have never thought. So my son is down in the kitchen, sitting in front of the TV, watching sports like he always does with his pizza. And Sam, the consummate beggar that he is, along with Sophie, my Labradoodle, were kind of surrounding him as he was eating this pizza. And for some reason, I bought the pizza, which I normally don't do from Whole Foods, that was a garlic type pizza. And there were whole pieces of garlic on the pizza. And I was upstairs in the bedroom, just lying on the bed, relaxing, watching YouTube videos, kind of minding my own business. My husband was back in Florida, so it was just my son and I, only the two of us in the house at the time. And that also plays a really important role in this situation. So it's about 7:30 at night, and my son yells up the stairs at me, "Mom, about 30 minutes ago, Sam ate," and my son, mind you, is 23 years old. He's not a child. He yells up the stairs. He said, "Mom, Sam ate a piece of garlic. Is that okay?" And I was like, well, I don't know. So I Googled garlic and found out garlic's not okay. I mean, garlic is really up there, or maybe even surpasses chocolate and raisins, because apparently garlic, it really doesn't matter sometimes how much of it they eat, whereas chocolate, it really depends on the dog's weight, kind of how much they eat. Sometimes garlic, the dog sometimes doesn't have to eat a lot of garlic if they're sensitive to it to have a very severe, life-threatening, fatal reaction. I looked that up and kind of went into a panic and was screaming down the steps, why would you sit there and watch Sam eat a piece of garlic? Why would you do that? Why would you not stop him? He's not supposed to be eating that much human food anyway. And my son was terribly upset and was so kind of traumatized by this whole thing. You think he's going to be okay. I mean, what are we going to do? I started calling around to the animal hospitals to see. At the time, you really should kind of know these things in advance, but I didn't. I didn't know that there were animal hospitals in Boulder that are open 24 hours. But sometimes you can't find animal hospitals that are open, and it had me panicking because I knew it was nighttime. Maybe I couldn't find that one that was open. What's funny is my standard poodle about 5 or 6 years ago ate a bowl of chocolate covered raisins, and it was 12 o'clock midnight, and this is when we were in Florida. We, for some reason, could not find a vet hospital that was open. And my older son looked up online how you can make your own kind of, I think it's like a hydrogen peroxide baking soda or something mixture that you get the dog to drink with a either turkey baster or something, a funnel and a turkey baster, whatever. We kind of jury-rigged this whole concoction, gave it to my standard poodle. She vomited up That was the whole point of giving the mixture, to make the dog vomit. She vomited up the raisins and the chocolate. Pretty much everything was still whole. It had not been digested. I mean, that was amazing. We kind of did it ourselves. Here in Colorado, I didn't have the hydrogen peroxide. I didn't have the baking soda. I didn't know the mixture. My older son wasn't here to kind of cheer me on to do it and help me. I was here by myself, and there was like no way I was going to mix my own kind of mixture to make my dog vomit up this piece of garlic. I weighed the pros and the cons of taking him to the vet. I mean, should I really take him into the ER? Should I just wait it out? It was only one piece of garlic. Maybe nothing will happen. If my husband would have been here, he probably would have said, it's one piece of garlic, don't worry about it. You don't need to take him to the hospital. That would have been a critical error in this whole story. So anyway, I decide to get dressed really fast. Told my son to stay here with my other dog, and I hopped in the car at 8 o'clock at night and tore over to the animal hospital. I was on the phone talking to them. She said he probably could be okay, but I can't guarantee it. I'm like, I'm not going to rely on that. I'm just going to go there, have you do what you have to do, and I'll feel comfortable. I'll rest at night, yada yada. So I take Sam into the emergency room. They take him in the back room. And they give him a shot of something called apomorphine, which I think is some derivative or something of the narcotic morphine. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I didn't realize that is what they used to get the dogs to induce vomiting. I guess it's quick, easy, works, fairly benign, has been used for a long time. Fairly safe drug. So they gave Sam the shot. He proceeded to vomit up the garlic. Pretty much the garlic was still whole, intact, had really not been digested much. They showed me the garlic. I felt good. Everything's good. She told me everything was going to be good. We got the garlic out. He'll be fine. Put Sam in the car, take him home. Sam's kind of out of it when I bring him home. I mean, even my son was kind of joking and said, wow, that morphine really kind of knocked Sam out. He was loopy. I took him out of the ER, and he was like looking around like, where's the car? I can't get in the car. I had to hoist his butt into the car to get him in. He was just as if he had been on drugs, as like a human that was on drugs. It was just out of it. And I attributed it to the shot and just thought it must be the morphine in the shot that just made him a little loopy. Well, he was loopy and out of it for the next couple of days. Didn't want to eat, and that is not like Sam at all. So I was walking a trail with my son one day, and this was probably about 4 days after the incident at the ER, and Sam still was not eating really well, and he did a poopy, and there was kind of mucus on top of the poopy, and it just didn't look good to me. So I called my vet, and she said, if you bring a sample of it in, we can have it analyzed and give you the results pretty quickly. So I got the poopy, rushed over to the vet, gave him the sample. Within a couple hours, she called me and she said, it looks like he might have eaten something outside or a toy, and there was some fiber material or something in the poop, which is Sam. Sam does eat toys sometimes, furry, yarny kind of toys sometimes. And I thought, well, that's okay. That's that. And then she said, looks like there's a little bacteria or something in his stool, so let's just put him on antibiotics. So they put him on, what's the antibiotic with the metronidazole, I think that's the name of it. I don't know it off the top of my head. They put him on metronidazole, and I think I gave him 2 doses of that, and he vomited it up. It made his stomach so upset. Still was not eating. And I said to my son, something's wrong. This is not right. He's not eating. This is not Sam. I took him in, and she said, let's just draw some labs on him and see what's going on. She drew labs on Sam, and she said, wow, his 1 liver enzyme is really off. His ALT, really off. She said, it's pretty high. She said, let's redraw it again and see if it's accurate. Maybe we didn't, I think she said something to the effect, maybe we just didn't get the sample right or something. Let's redo it. Let me redo it. She drew it again, and it was still really off. And she said, it's probably nothing, but these are your options. We can do more extensive lab work, We can do x-rays, but that's not really going to tell us much. Or we can do an ultrasound of his liver and stomach and his organs and his belly to make sure there's nothing funny going on. That probably will give you your best information. So I said, let's just go right for the ultrasound. I really wanted to get this settled quickly, and I didn't want Sam suffering any longer than he had to with something that maybe I needed to be treating. Dropped Sam off at the doctor's office in the morning. I think he had to have an empty stomach that day, and they did the ultrasound on him, and she calls me, and it's the phone call. You know how you can tell the way somebody words a phone call that is not going to be good news. And she said, oh, we did the ultrasound, and all his other organs, that's when I knew it was going to be bad news. All of Sam's other organs in his stomach look really good, but his liver, she said the person that did the ultrasound said his liver looks very abnormal. It does not look like the liver of a 4-year-old dog. It looks like the liver of like a 12-year-old dog. It looks fibrotic. It looks like it has scar tissue on there. It looks like he has cirrhosis of the liver. What? Okay, I take my dog in for garlic poisoning, and a week later, you're telling me that my dog has cirrhosis of the liver. My mind could not wrap around that. I think in my mind, I have a very healthy dog, and all of a sudden, you're telling me my dog is going to possibly die, and possibly die fairly soon. I said, what are my options now? What do I do? And she said, what we really need to do is a biopsy of the liver. So I'm going to send you to the surgeon that I recommend. She's very good at what she does. This whole time I'm kind of walking around in a cloud of what the heck just happened. I still was just in shock. Just couldn't wrap my mind around this whole thing. And my husband kept saying to me, you know, looking at an ultrasound, you really can't tell exactly what's going on in the liver. He said, to be able to do diagnostics by just going by an ultrasound, you can't do that. He said, you know, wait for the biopsy. But unfortunately, the animal hospitals, that's not what they were saying to me. They were basically saying to me, when they came in, your dog is extremely ill. We're going to bump the surgery up really soon because he needs to have this biopsy done ASAP. If he doesn't survive before the surgery, you've got to be kidding me. Survive before? That means a week? Are you nuts? If he doesn't survive before the surgery, if he would happen to die before the surgery, you know, kind of, we just don't know. I was like, okay. So we waited the couple days before the surgery. And I kept saying to my family, Sam to me seems like he's getting better. If somebody tells you your dog is dying, you would think, okay, every day that passes, the dog should be getting worse. And the further Sam got away from that apomorphine shot, it was as if he was recovering from that shot over time rather than getting worse. So they did the liver biopsy. And again, you know, after the biopsy, the surgeon said, well, you know, just by looking at the liver, it looks cirrhotic. And cirrhotic livers, that's not good. You can't really work with a cirrhotic liver. The liver is an amazing organ. It has the ability to regenerate. But once it reaches the point of being cirrhotic, kind of past the point of no return. So a lot of crying. And even my husband left there saying, wow. Talking about hospice for him, talking about him dying. I mean, I think he was in shock himself, and he still kept saying, she cannot visually say that that liver is what it is until the pathologist says what it is. And I said, okay, I hope you're right. So we got the pathology back, and I think the surgeon was shocked, and so was the nurse that basically told me Sam was probably going to be dying fairly shortly, shocked. But she did, I must admit, the surgeon did an excellent job, so I'm not going to pick on her, but it was rough there for a while. But Sam's liver ended up being, I mean, not great. It's fibrotic, which is one step before it starts turning cirrhotic. His liver was fibrotic. And it turns out what they believe he has is probably one of the most common reasons a lot of dogs have fibrotic livers and develop cirrhosis is from copper storage disease. And that's when their bodies cannot process copper in foods and water, things like that. It starts storing up in the liver. And usually dogs that have copper storage disease that is not diagnosed early die between 3 and 7 years of age. And they die fast. I mean, once you start having real full-blown symptoms of copper storage disease, a dog can die, within 72 hours of that. It is a disease you don't wish on your dog. But Sam, thankfully, is being treated. He's on a lot of medications. They give him medication to chelate that copper out of his liver. That's given over, I believe, several months. They also have him on 2 liver medications to help kind of with his liver's health. He will take those the rest of his life. And he's on a special diet, sadly. He enjoys food so much, and it is a diet that's low in protein because a lot of protein has copper in it. And I know there are some people that do home cooked low copper diets for their dog, but my vet really was not too gung-ho about that. The internist that talked to me was a specialist. She was graduated from vet school, Cornell. I think Cornell is one of the top vet schools in the country, and she basically preferred me to be on a regular prescription liver diet for him for now, at least, adding just a little bit of protein into his food. That is my story time story. Without that piece of garlic, without me going to the ER to have them give him that apomorphine shot to induce vomiting, his liver had a really hard time processing that shot. Most dogs with a very healthy liver would have gotten that shot, had no problem. Sam, when he got that shot, that really knocked him for a loop, and his liver just had a hard time dealing with that medication. And that is what set this whole chain of events kind of happening, and this domino effect that led us to the diagnosis of copper storage disease and allowed me to treat Sam and hopefully get more time with him. That is the best gift that I could have ever been given. That is my story, guys. That is my story time story of how a piece of garlic saved my dog's life. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's also something to be aware of. If you do have any of the breeds of dogs that sometimes are prone to copper storage disease, it may make sense to have routine blood work done maybe on them, maybe once or twice when they're younger. If I would have had liver enzymes done on Sam when he was 1 or 2, I probably would have caught this earlier. It's something that I believe he was definitely born with, and the older they get, the more copper buildup occurs, and then it ends up eventually with them dying younger than they should. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye from Marla.